What's good with it? In the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips, where we get it in. Mellow situation today, man. The day before, the day it cracks, right? The day before New Year's, man. I hope you guys have a great New Year's out there. I hope you guys get your wiggle on, but at the same time, keep your head on exorcist, on turnaround, because you never know what can go down, man. It's a dangerous night, but it's also a festive night. So, man, enjoy it. Enjoy it with your family. Enjoy it with your friends, and do your thing, man. So before we get into the content of the day, hit the like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell on all, so that way you're directed to the direction of the content that I am kicking. And I highly appreciate the support, most definitely. Now, who the fuck is Danny Masterson, right? I've been hearing this guy's name a lot. And I'm going to tell you, from other content creators' perspectives, it's cool, man. They're going to tell a story that this guy has now touched down in the California Department of Corrections. But having done time in the California Department of Corrections, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen to this guy. Exactly, what his first day is going to be like, for those of you that care, and we'll get into the history of his crimes and whatever the fuck he did, right? So I'm going to give you guys the full rundown, the righteous rundown, So this guy, Danny Masterson, is popular for being an actor, right? For being on that show, the 70s show. And I remember my primo was all hyphy and happy when, or that when this guy got caught up, my primo called me like, hey, guess who got locked up on some weirdo charges? I said, who? I thought one of our primos was acting funny. He was like, Danny Masterson. I said, Danny Masturbates? Who's that, right? He's like, the guy from that 70s show. And I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. The only thing I remember from that 70s show was that chick, Mila Kunis, right? So I was like, that 70s show. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh shit, the one that was married to Demi Moore. And he was like, nah. The dude with the wild hair and the funny glasses. So I started to look into it, man. And I, after doing my little research, I realized that this guy had done some faulty shit, or was accused of doing some faulty shit. At that time he had just been arrested. So I wasn't going to judge. That's what a lot of people do, is they assume, or they prejudge people, man. A lot of these cases, especially these Hollywood cases, like you hear what's going on with P. Diddy and people thinking that Tyler Perry was touching on light-skinned black men. You don't know exactly what it is, man. A lot of people say a lot of things because there's a lot of money that circulates, a lot of popularity, and things go on in Hollywood. So people, they're quick to throw something on your plate and say you've done some shit. But lately, it's been coming out that a lot of these motherfuckers is guilty. A lot of these people have been actually doing some bad shit, right? So this guy was accused of several charges of doing, taking advantage of women. We'll just say that. And, he was taking it without asking. Or maybe he was asking and they were saying no and he was taking it anyways. He was on his Bill Cosby hype, right? So he definitely, got caught up. Eventually, these women were brave enough to come forward and speak their truth. And obviously, man, there was enough evidence to convict this guy. There was enough evidence, and they believed what these women were saying. Because there's been so many times in Hollywood where women or even men have come forward saying, hey, man, he touched me inappropriately, or I said no and he said go, or he went around the motherfucking Monopoly board and didn't collect the 200, right? And it's not a laughing matter. It's not a joke, because a lot of us that have never been violated like that don't have to live with that. Some of these people have to relive that every day, and it affects their daily life, man. It affects their family situation, their situation at home, their situation with significant others. So I can understand. So anyways, this guy, Danny Masterson, gets caught up and ultimately gets convicted. California. Okay, let me tell you what happens to these weirdos, chirujos, these people who have these types of charges. So the word on the curb is that this guy has just landed in CDC. So basically, he's in reception right now. Okay, he got moved from the county jail where I believe he was protected because of the notoriety of his case and because of who he is. And best believe money can't protect you at all times. But in this case, I'm sure he was kept in protective housing. PC, he was separated from everyone else, from the gang members, from the people that they think will do him harm, extort him, take his bread, take his cheeks, whatever. He was kept away. Now, do I condone what they're doing as far as keeping these weirdos away from other people? No, absolutely not. I believe that, if you're into the game of taking advantage of people, well, then, you have to reap what you sow. You have to make your bed and lay in it. But that's the way administration does it. And they don't do it for the protection of one individual. They do it for all. The reason they do it is because they don't want to do paperwork, man. They know what's going to happen if this guy hits general population. He's going to get generally populated. He's going to be impregnated by other men. Whether you can have them or not, it's going to happen, right? There's going to be bad things that are going to happen to this guy because nobody likes people that are in on certain charges, right? Especially when it comes to taking advantage of women or children. So anyways, he sits down in the county jail, and now recently he's been moved to the CDC. And I've seen another content creator from, I think, back east that did a video on it. And he was talking about, oh yeah, it's going to be this way and it's going to be that way. And let me tell you exactly what it is going to be, for the most part, to the best of my knowledge. California Department of Corrections is different from any other state. It's heavily gang related. It's very racial. People have these ideals of what they think it is because they've seen movies. And the movies don't always tell the truth. They tell a lot of truths, but not exactly, right? There's a lot of Hollywood that goes into that. The truth and the fact of the matter is, this guy has hit reception, and in reception, everybody is pretty much segregated from everybody. He's going to go to what is considered an SNY functioning building. Or he might even go into the protective housing unit, depending upon, his concerns, where they place him. But I don't think that's going to go down for this guy. I don't think his case is that notorious or notorious enough where they're going to place him in the PHU, which is a protective housing unit for the worst of the worst. A lot of the guys that go to the protective housing units, and there's only a few of them in the state, a lot of these guys have the most outlandish, craziest crimes as far as weird stuff. A lot of them are the, snitches that just really can't be around anyone. Sometimes if you're an ex-officer, man, that have a notorious case, they'll put you there if you catch a case in California. I don't think he's going to the PHU. What he's doing right now is he's sitting down in reception with the rest of the fellas, right? And I'm pretty sure there's people that look at him as a trophy. When you go in, when you're incarcerated and you're an actor or a rapper or you have a little bit of fame, a social media fucking content creator, whatever, people automatically assume that you have bread, that you have money. And let me tell you right now, your money's not going to buy you out of having a bad charge. Your money might buy you out of certain situations. You could go in there, like say if he was in there on assault, but, and then of course, if it was just a righteous case, of course he would go function with the white dudes. The white boys would definitely embrace him, and it would be a whole bunch of utilization going on. Meaning that, because he has money, or they assume he has money, he's going to be buying all the canteen products for everybody, right? Especially those that are in position to extort him or use that. But in this case, he's not. In this case, this man has a bad case, so nobody wants to fuck with him. Not his race, not any other race, nobody. Nobody is going to protect this man from what he's got coming, and he needs to understand that. And I'm sure he does, That's one thing that is truth. When you get incarcerated and you have a bad charge, that's, you're looked down upon. You're the scum bucket. You're the bottom of the earth, Humps. You're the gum on the bottom of my shoe. And regardless what people may say or think, say this guy's a multimillionaire and he goes in there and thinks, okay, my money's going to buy me protection. No one wants to associate with those type of characters. Nobody wants to be that one that's fucking affiliated like that. It just doesn't happen, man. People have, I hate to say it, but people do have some morals and values, man. Or I don't even hate to say it. It's just truth. It's real, right? So anyways, he gets locked up. He's in the reception, and he's going to be amongst, they'll probably sell him up with someone who has kind of the same case as him. There are cases where they do sell him up with, someone who doesn't have a bad charge, but just happens to be on the SNY side, just happens to be a gang dropout, or maybe someone that couldn't take the pressure of hitting the main line. Maybe a first-termer that got scared and locked it up in the cop car. You just don't know, okay? You don't know. Whatever, he's going to be there. Now, is he going to go through some situations? Perhaps. Perhaps he gets sold up with a big old bald white guy that doesn't like fucking people that take advantage of women. Maybe something happened to his mother or sister, or maybe he just doesn't like it. Not a lot of people do, right? I'd say 99% of the people, doesn't matter what side of the yard you're on, doesn't condone that shit, right? And maybe it might be a guy that just doesn't want to be set up with them. And there might be some shit that takes place. He might get what? I'm just going to be real. He might get taken advantage of. It's time to man up. You were the man in the situation with the woman. Now it might be time for you to be the woman in that situation. One never knows, does one, right? So anyways, this guy's in reception. If he's able to make it out of reception without too much shit happening to him, he's going to go to an SNY yard, right? I highly doubt they'll send him to a protective housing unit. because I just don't believe that he meets the criterion for that. Like I said, those cases or those facilities, those buildings are meant for people who really, really need that shit, right? Because they wouldn't last fucking 10 seconds on a main line. So anyways, he's going to get to whatever yard they send him to. Now, in reception, he's going to go through the bullshit, man. What reception entails for anybody is they're going to do all the medical procedures there, make sure that you're physically fit. They're going to look at your points, your history, your case factors, and then they're going to place you wherever they have bed space available according to your points, right? So with that type of case, more than likely he's going to go to a 3-yard, right? He's going to go to a 3-yard because I'm sure he's a first-time offender. I hate to say it, but the administration kind of caters to these type of individuals. Just is what it is. So he'll probably go to a 3-yard. He'll probably go to a facility like Mule Creek or whatever other fucking they got going on now, Chachilla, whatever, right? And so upon his arrival there in the SNY, a lot of people know who this guy is. Do a lot of people care? Probably not, but he is considered a trophy. In the prison system, like I said, if you're well known, everybody wants to make you that example. Everybody wants to lay a demo down. Just what it is. And so he's going to get to an SNY yard. Now, the difference between an SNY yard and a 50-50 yard or a fucking integrated yard or a general population yard, they got so many different names now. In GP, he wouldn't make it past R&R. There's R&R or whatever you want to call it, right? Intake. Right when you get to a facility, the first thing you do is you get to the R&R building, right? That's where you're going to get your laundry. That's where you're going to get housed within that facility. That's when, again, they're going to have a gang expert. If you're gang related, come look at your tattoos, take pictures, ask you questions. Now, on this SNY side, of course, they already know that he's in bad standings and can't go to general population. So they're not even going to ask him what he wants to do. He's not going to get the choice to go GP or SNY because of his case factors and what he's in there for, and because of the notoriety of who he is. He's automatically going to be placed in a protective custody situation. So he's going to get to SNY, and in the SNY facility, there's people that are ex-gang members. There's rats. There's people that are there for bad chomo cases, pedophiles. There's a little bit of everything sprinkled in. Now it's up to him who he's going to associate with. It's not like he can go in there and fly under the radar. There's a lot of people that go to SNY yards that have bad charges that are able to manipulate, because in these yards, they're not going to check your paperwork. Unless you get an old school dropout convict cellie that doesn't want to be housed or live with the weirdo, of course they're going to check your paperwork. Of course, he's going to do it, on his own. Now, you got to understand, in these SNY yards now, what you have is a lot of new gangs that over the years have, developed. You have gangs that are considered dropout gangs, or maybe they consider themselves active on them yards or whatever. So, I'm going to keep it real with you when I say that he's going to have trouble. There's going to be problems when it comes to these gang members, these new gangs on these yards. And it's not like, oh, he's a white guy, so only the dropout white gangs are going to approach him. No. He's fair game and free for everybody. He can get taxed by anybody. Whoever is the deepest in that facility, whoever's pretty much fucking on point and running whatever it is in that SNY yard, are going to be the ones that are going to approach him. And I'm going to tell you, he's going to be paying what he's weighing. And if he doesn't pay what he weighs, then bad things are going to happen to him. Because one thing that's slept on that a lot of people don't speak on, but it's the truth, it doesn't matter what type of yard you get to in prison, and especially in California, there's a lot of people that don't agree with weird cases. They're forced to function alongside of these people, man. But quietly as it's kept, a lot of the guys that are like gang dropouts or have righteous charges, but just found themselves in that situation just because maybe they PC'd up or they rolled it up or they got on or they got whacked and removed, because there's a lot of people on them yards that were removed. Some unjustly, some they got their due process and they just couldn't hack it, or it wasn't for them anymore, or people decided it wasn't for them anymore, right? These guys still have these values. They hold on to the core values of, some of them weren't ready to leave the gang. Some of them are lifers that feel that they don't want to function. They don't want to be where they're at, man, but they're forced to because it's a life or death situation. That's what a sensitive need is. They have a sensitive need, meaning they're not necessarily, they're PC'd up, but they're not necessarily considering themselves a PC. It just is what it is. Okay. So he's going to be a PC. He's got weird charges, so he's got a lot of strikes against him. And some of these gangs that are there, like Northern Riders, 2 5ers, independent riders, whatever, Brothers by Choice, all these different gangs that have sprung up over the years, Zapatistas, the New Flowers I know don't function on the yards according to their program, but these other guys, they're definitely going to approach him. They're going to approach him for 2 reasons. One, he could be the meal ticket, Holmes. If he knows what's best for him, he's going to break bread like Jesus said. He's going to pay to play. He's going to pay to stay. And if not, he's going to get beat up. Now, does that mean just because he's paying one certain group, other people aren't going to get on his head? Now, this ain't general population where you have to fucking fall in line with whoever you fall in line with. This is a wild, wild west place. The SNY yards are considered very dangerous and treacherous because there's nobody dictating a program. Now, I know with these new gangs that have been implemented, there's some type of structure there and there's a hierarchy or whatever, depending upon, what yard you go to. But for the most part, this guy is a fucking sheep amongst lions, right? He's going to get Simba'd. He's going to get Mufasa'd. He's going to get scarred, right? Because a lot of these guys are not going to recognize the fact that he's a white guy. They don't care about race. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is the money, the butt cheeks, or the motherfucking, whatever can make their time more beneficial for them. So Danny Masterson is going to get to this SNY yard, and he's going to have it rough, man. He's going to have it rough. People are not just going to leave him alone again, man. It's trophy time. Over the years, these yards have changed. These yards are not what people think. A whole bunch of scared fucking sheep running around. It's not like that. He could get settled with someone who has a same type of charges as him, but has been around the block, has done time, and is an old school convict that just happens to have them charges, and he might feel some type of way. Do I think he's going to be murdered and killed and unalived in the cell and all that craziness? Not necessarily. He must fight for his. Having bad charges like that, I know a lot of people hope bad things happen to him, and I could assure you, bad things will. He's not going to go unscraped. It's not because he was on that 70. Hey, guess what, man? They're going to find out whoever liked that show the most. Hey, guess what? We're going to put Danny Masterson in your cell. I know you're a big fan. It doesn't work that way. If he got sold up with Don Knotts, he'll Mr. Furley his ass. That's just how it is. Jack Tripper will wear them short-ass shorts and let his balls hang all over his forehead. This is how it is in prison, man, especially in California prison. Nobody likes a weirdo. Nobody likes someone who took advantage of someone else. Just ain't the way it is. So will he go in there and not get scraped? I seen another content creator say, oh, he's going to have it good. They're going to take care of him. They're going to watch over him. They don't do that, man. How good in the feds did they watch over Derek Chauvin? Did he get watched over quite well? It's not like they have a fucking whole goon squad that's going to surround this guy and SB him, shadow him everywhere he goes. It's not the way it goes. He's going to be on his own. He's going to have to stand on his own 10, and he's going to have to do what he does. And he's going to get treated like everyone else, only here's the difference. They assume he has money. He's a trophy. He's somebody famous, semi-famous. So best believe there's going to be people waiting on him, no matter where he gets to. There's not a place in the California Department of Corrections besides a PHU housing unit or ADSEG celled up alone where they can keep him safe. Now, will he go in there and be able to just kick it? And I've heard a lot of people, why don't you just go to the hole and do your whole time in the hole? It doesn't work that way. Okay, there's bed space. They need that hole for people that are fucking up. They'll kick you up out of the hole and send you right to the lion's den, man. You got to understand, a lot of these officers are men, just like we're men. Okay, so these officers don't condone that weird shit either. So he can find himself in a situation where he gets set up with Bull Hurley and they go over the top of his ass cheeks. I'm just keeping it real. There's a lot of situations. The one content creator that I seen his video and he was like, oh, he's going to be fine. He'll be all right. It seems like he has some of that weird shit in his closet. He is not going to be fine. Do I wish bad upon him? Can I plead the fifth on that one? It just is what it is, So that's what's going to happen with Danny Masterson. His first day on the block, his first day in the SNY yard, because that's where he surely will go. They will not put him in general population. If they make the mistake to do that, he won't make it past R&R. Not with that case. And not, someone's going to be like, hey, I used to watch you, eh? Yeah, I'm going to kill you now. And that's just the way it is. You can't be a rapist. You can't have weird charges in prison, especially in California, man. It ain't going to rock like that. Doesn't matter what yard you go to. Now, there are dudes that do have bad cases that are functioning on them yards, and people are leaving them alone or they're taking all their canteen. At the same time, everybody's different. Do I believe because this guy was an actor, because this guy was semi-famous, he's going to get special treatment? Fuck no, not at all. If anything, he's got it way worse. With that being said, that's how it's going to go down. That's the truth. Am I going to sit here and give you guys and tell you guys, he's going to get fucking murdered and all that? Nah, I don't know. Perhaps. But I could tell you where he's going to go, and that's definitely a SNY yard, man. And, he better be ready to fucking kick in before he gets kicked in. He'll probably be with all those weirdos, man, sitting down playing Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know. Maybe he'll be hardcore. Maybe he'll go in there and just bite someone's Adam's apple off. One never knows, does one. What I do know for sure is he's in prison now, and he's got to deal with the consequences of his actions. With that being said, I hope that you move with a purpose, get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, if you want it real, man, I'm going to give it to you as real as I can, man. I'm not going to sugarcoat, add preservatives, and bullshit you guys. Thank you guys so much for the extensive amount of appreciation I'm getting. Again, have a great New Year's Eve. Have a great New Year's Day. And always think about the situation you're in, man. This guy wasn't thinking that shit when he was in Hollywood having it his way, huh? That he was going to be southern with the big dude named fucking Dion, who's going to be like, can I have some of your cornbread? It's all bad. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I honestly, truly believe in. And that's bringing you guys the best possible content I can, man. Black and brown, whites included. You know what it is. Shout out to my Usos and my Asians. Bang, bang. Gunna gang.